Yo, what's happening, everybody? Easy Nifty here with another really cool PvP build. This is for the people who like using Oaken Soul. This is just a Nightblade Oaken Soul build what I came up with a while back. And it actually really does slap. It does a ton of damage. It's got good pressure. It's got good sustain. We got plenty of mobility and stuff for dodge rolling around. We got good heals. It's got pretty much everything that it needs. So let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? So as you can see, obviously I'm a Khajiit Nightblade. You can use this as a Khajiit. You could be a Breton. You could be pretty much any race you kind of want to be with this build, and it will probably work. Obviously, say for example, I was a Breton. Obviously, with me then being a Breton, I would have to then find a little bit extra damage, and I wouldn't need the Atronach for sustain. So therefore, like I would drop that and then probably put that into like extra damage and stuff. So I'd probably swap that for like the shadow or something like that if I was gonna do that. But yeah, let's hop into it anyway. As you can see, we are a one bar build. Minus obviously the back bar skills, they don't come into play. That's just for my other build. So technically, we are a one bar build as we got the Oaken Soul. So let's go ahead and cover this, shall we? As you can see, we are in 6-piece medium, 1-piece heavy. So let's start with the heavy helm. We're taking the Lord Warden. The reason why I take the Lord Warden is just for that extra armor. I feel like the extra armor is very much needed as you're quite squishy on the Nightblade anyway, generally. And I feel like having that extra little bit of armor does help. So we took that. And then as you can see, one of our 5-piece sets is Scavenging Demise. And this set is actually really, really, really great. As you can see, it adds weapon and spell damage. We get critical chance, more critical chance, and then when we deal critical poison damage to an enemy, summon a Scavenging Maw, which attacks your enemy after 2 seconds. The Scavenging Maw will deal 12,900 in poison damage and inflicts minor vulnerability for 15 seconds, which then also increases damage taken to that victim by 5%. This is huge for the 10 seconds. Really, really, really good set. Okay. We pair this set with another solid 5-piece, which is called a Defiler. This also gives us weapon and spell damage, and then it gives us more critical chance. And then on top of that, we deal critical damage and we summon a hunger that spews poison all over enemies in front of them. And it deals a lot less poison damage, but we're not using this one specifically for that poison damage. We're using this one specifically for the stun. Okay, because it stuns the enemy hit for 5 seconds. It's a very, very hard stun. And this scales off of whatever's higher of my weapon and spell damage. As you can see here, we're at 4,600 weapon and spell damage. So my weapon and spell damage is up there. That's not even us at max. If I hit this guy, as you can see, we go to 5.3k. If we spew them out, you can see the damage, what it does. They both spawn, and all that pressure is applied to that guy. And as you can see, they would just keep spawning and doing their job, right? That's how this build works. It's a very, very strong build. But yeah, we go up to about 5.3k. Was it 5.3? 5.4. There you go. So we got up to 5.4k. We got only about 4k pen, but we don't typically need the extra penetration. If you wanted extra pen, technically I don't need the Atronach. I just feel like it does help. Just for my play style and the way that I play quite aggressively. So like I feel like the Atronach helps me in my situation of how I fight. But technically you don't really need it. If you play a little bit more lenient with yourself and you're a bit further back and you're just applying dots and stuff, you probably wouldn't need that. So you could probably run the pen instead. Obviously, oak and soul, solid ring. For the 1 bar, we're getting all them major buffs and minor buffs. Super nice for lazy builds in PvP. If you don't want a 2-bar build, this is a very strong build. Obviously, we got Defiler bow as our main weapon. So let's jump into traits. So obviously, Lord Warden helmet on the heavy, on a well fitted. We've got a Scavenging Demise on a well fitted on the shoulder. We've got Reinforced Scavenging Demise on a chest piece. We've got a Defiler pair of hands on well fitted. We've also got a Defiler belt on an impen. We've got Reinforced Scavenging Demise on the legs. And then we've got Defiler boots on impen. So I've got what? 1, 2, 3. 3 well fitted, 2 reinforced, 1 impen. Personally, if I was gonna change things up here, I would actually probably drop one of my well fitted pieces and I would rock another impen, and I would probably drop my helmet for that as it's a bigger piece. I'd probably do that. But yeah, and then we take sharpened on the bow for the extra penetration on the bow. So even though my penetration's at 3.9, technically it's not, because we're getting the extra 3k pen on the bow. So yeah, pretty nice. We are a stage 3 vampire. I feel like this is very optional. It's entirely up to you if you want to be a vampire. I personally feel like vampires' undead passives are just too good to give up. Even with them being nerfed recently, I still feel like they are worth keeping. I mean, it's still 15% on my missing health. I mean, 15% is 15%, my dudes. I think it's daft to want to give it up and daft to give it up, to be honest. That's just my personal preference and personal opinion on it. Obviously, like I say, we are the Atronach. In terms of attributes, we've got 17 into Magicka. I've got 22 into health. And we've got 25 into stamina. So we're pretty average here on our stats. Obviously, I was trying to push for that 30k health. If you're Imperial, you kind of can reach it. But obviously, with being a Khajiit, it's too good to give up. Being a Khajiit as a Nightblade because of all the crit damage and the crit pen, what you get from it and whatnot. It's just super nice. As you can see, our blue tree, we got Fight and Finesse. This is critical damage to critical healing done by 8%. This allows me, for this build, it helps me in several ways. It's helping my poison injection be more critical based poison damage. It's also helping my Merciless Resolve be a crit hit, so the hit will be harder. It's also increasing my healing and my healing ticks of all my heals what I put out. So yeah, really nice to run that. I got Swift Renewal. As we're at 1 bar, I feel like we kind of need that little bit of extra healing. So obviously I take Swift Renewal. This increases my healing done with damage over times. So it increases my vigor heals, as we are I kind of don't want to be rude, but we're cucking ourselves in a way because we're not on a 2-bar build, right? So we're losing out on a lot of buffs and a lot of healing situational buffs and just all that extra what's the word I'm looking for? There's like when you've got 2 bars, you've got way more resistances and you can take more of a beating, right? So we're losing out on a whole bar of that, right? So therefore, we take this. This just helps us a little bit more, get more heals. Resilience. This is just for a little bit of extra critical resistance. Like I say, plays in the fact that we are not a 2-bar build, so it just helps with being a 1-bar build. It's just giving us an extra little cushion of defense. And this is another reason why I take this as well. So most people don't realize this ability is a very strong ability. I even use this on 2-bar builds sometimes, because it's a very, very strong ability. So healing a target under 25% health removes all harmful effects. So if I've got 5 people beating on me and I'm below 25% health and I get my burst heal or a heal on me, I remove all them negative effects. So chances are, like, if I'm a skilled enough player and I cause a line of sight, while I've got them 5 people hopping on me or whatever, and then I dodge roll around a tree or something, or cause some kind of line of sight where they can't hit me for that split second, but I can heal myself for that split second, I'm near enough back to full health. It's a very, very, especially with this heal, like I'm near enough back to full health, right? So it's a very, very strong ability. Yeah, definitely run it. Red tree. So in the red tree, we have fortified. This just gives us extra armor. Like I say, plays into the point that we're not a 2-bar build. So therefore, I'm trying to stack up more resistance and more resilience being a 1-bar build. And I mean, our resistances are at 21k. I pop vigor. We're at 24k resist on a 1-bar build. I don't think you can go wrong with that. And bear in mind, we're a Nightblade too, so that's really not that bad considering we're a Nightblade too. If you wanted more resistance, I would say rock the lady, and she will put you up a little bit higher too. But yeah, we're rocking that for the extra armor. Obviously, survival instincts. This is just standard. I run this on every build. Why wouldn't you? It's 25% flat reduced cost of all your skills. It's just worth having. It's silly not to. It's just really, really good. Sustain by suffering. Once again, like I say, it will play into this. Until I drop 25% health. I'm stacking and becoming more tankier with recovery, until they get me down to that point where this will play into effect. Okay, so that them two will make me very, very tanky and take a bit of a beating with Pain's Refuge and Sustained by Suffering until I get down to the 25% health. Then this will play into effect, and then these two come back into play again. Do you see where I'm coming from? So, like, it's a very, very strong build. Definitely worth running. Green Tree doesn't really come into it, but I take Gifted Rider. I take Steve's Blessing for when I'm not in combat. I get that extra movement speed. As we all know in Cyrodiil with the combat bug, where we're still getting Steve's Blessing, but yet we're in combat bug and we can't mount, right? But yet we're still getting Steve's Blessing because we're technically not in combat, but we're stuck in some kind of bug loop where we can't mount, right? So yeah, I definitely take that as handy to have. Plentiful Harvest. I don't know why I've got this on here. I just have. Like I say, Green Tree doesn't really come into it. Let's try and make the Green Tree a little bit better, to be honest. Because I don't need this. I would say obviously Rationer, Gifted Rider. You could take Wall Mount. I mean, Wall Mount's solid. Rationer, Steve's Blessing, Wall Mount. Yeah, just take that. I don't know why can't I mount use it? It's bugged or something? Yeah, I don't know if it's bugged. You could also take Liquid Efficiency. Liquid efficiency wouldn't be too bad either. But that's the green tree. Like I say, green tree doesn't really come into it other than Rationer and Steve's Blessing, and maybe Gifted Rider and War Mount. Liquid efficiency. Them four, well, them five, should I say, are probably normally what most people go to, unless they're PvE, and then that's just another thing again, which is normally like Treasure Hunter and stuff like that, and Homemaker and stuff for the extra plan and stuff. But in terms of skills, we got Siphon and Attack. This is kind of just like a bit of a bread and butter really for us. Obviously, when we do weapon attacks, you know, we're gonna get slight heals and that from that. You know, and what makes it really, really nice is if I'm somewhat spent, you know, but I've got health. You know, we're running low on stamina, but all my mag and that's good. I can start spamming this, and I can heal myself with my major heal, right? And I can get myself back up pretty quick with it, right? Obviously, next skill, we just fired it out. Merciless Resolve. This, you either do 5 light attacks or you do 2 heavy attacks. So that stacks as 2, look, with a heavy attack, and then you do a light attack, and then you can fire it. Or you just do light attacks, and then you get to the 5, and then you can fire it too. So that's a ton of damage. I normally try and save this one, and then normally like try and wait for my Maws to get that stun. You know, boom, he's stunned. I can then hit that, right? Boom. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna take all that extra damage once he's stunned. So you want to try and use that one when he's hard stunned. Really, really nice to use. Obviously, Resolve and Vigor. This does 2 things for us. Obviously, it buffs up our defenses to the 24,389. But it also gives us a nice healing amount, and it ticks us for like 6k ticks, which is kind of ridiculous. Being a 1-bar build, that is just wrong. As you can just see, I just used my burst heal and I got a 23k on that too, which is just even more disgusting and wrong. Obviously, our bread and butter for this build to prop both of our sets is Poison Injection. You can take the other morph, which is Venom Arrow. It wouldn't be a bad choice, you know, to use that too. I just don't typically use that morph because I feel like this one does more as an execute, and that's one thing that this build does lack a little bit of, is the execute side of things. So I tend to stick with Poison Injection just for that extra damage when they're lower health. It's just a little bit extra pressure, and I feel like it does help the build in the situation that we get ourselves in. Obviously, our bread and butter heal. The problem is with this heal, and I wish the devs would change this. And hear me out. I mean, people are gonna mislike me for saying this in this build, but I really don't care. I think the change would be reasonable, and I think it would be fine. Okay, so as we read this, we get minor mending by for 10 seconds by 8%. Okay, perhaps maybe we don't have it at 8%. Okay, maybe we have it at 6%. All right, hear me out. Take it down to 6%. Keep it for the 10 seconds. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. But make it 6%. Okay. But then also change how this ability works. I feel like this ability gets me killed a lot of the time. When I need this heal, it doesn't go to me. It will go to someone else within proximity. And I hate that. I wish if they changed this to where we get the minor mending by for 6% rather than 8% for 10 seconds, but made it where if we're below 50% health, it automatically goes to ourselves, I would be happy with that change. Like I wouldn't even bat an eyelid at that change, and I think it would be worth changing to that. I think this is a huge problem for Nightblades is that we need to rely on this heal, and we can't rely on it at the same time, because if there's someone near us, it's going to them. It's never ever really going to us, and it's such an awkward thing, you know. And this is why I'm rocking Vigor as well, because I need to be able to hit Vigor too, because this one will not always go to me. It's gonna go to someone else, guaranteed. Which is really, really annoying. Our last ability on our bar is Toxic Barrage. This is a really, really, really disgusting ultimate. Okay. So it's a channel timed ability for 4 seconds. We unleashed a barrage of arrows at an enemy, dealing 56,340 poison damage over 4 seconds. Okay. Bear in mind, don't forget we're already doing near enough 13k on the Scavenging Demise and a further 5k on the Defiler. Okay. And now we're hitting them with another 32,000 poison damage. Yeah, this is just good luck. If you survive through that, congratulations. Because, you know, chances are I'm just waiting for my next more and hit a Merciless Resolve. If you do survive the barrage, you know, you're dying to this. Okay? It's just inevitable. So yeah, it's a very, very strong build. I think I've pretty much covered everything. I will put a written guide down below for you guys and girls out there what wanna build this build for yourself. I'm pretty sure I've covered pretty much everything. In terms of traits, we got well fitted on a on a head, shoulders, hands. Well fitted, and then we got impen on our boots and our waist. I would probably drop one of the well fitteds. I'll probably drop the well fitted helmet and rock an impen helmet. That's just my personal preference after playing with this for a very long time. I would say maybe just get a little bit more crit resistance from the impen. As you can see here, increases crit resistance and takes less damage. I would just say rock that a little bit more. Obviously, moving on to the jury, we've got an infused on Scavenging Demise that has the weapon and spell damage and the stamina recovery. And then we got a swift on our Oaken Soul just for that extra 7% movement speed. It's very detrimental to have, considering we're only a 1-bar build. It just allows us to get away a little bit quicker. Kind of helps. Obviously, we got the same glyph, the multi-effect enchant with the weapon and spell damage and the 10 recovery for the stamina. And then on the neck, we have the same glyph on an infused again. As you can see, we gain 5,400 weapon damage for brief amount of time, obviously, because of the weapon glyph. But yeah, we got good recovery, we got good sustain. You know, our recovery for Magicka is 1,600. Stam recovery is 1,500. That being said, we can always get it all back with siphoning attacks. So super nice, super easy build to run. I hope you all enjoy. I will put a written description down below. Like I said, it will all be in a nice little neat spreadsheet for y'all. And I appreciate you all. I hope you like this build. Easy Nifty out. And I will catch you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.